In last video, we have discussed about effect of temperature on density of the liquid and effect of temperature on buoyancy. Today, we discuss calorimetry. What is this calorimetry? Before going to study calorimetry, let us study some words like internal energy. Internal energy of a body. Internal energy of a body. What is this internal energy? As we know, if you take solid or liquid, whenever we take a substance, in every substance we have atoms or molecules. Atoms or molecules. They have some arrangement. Especially in case of solid, they have a regular arrangement. This regular arrangement is because of attractive force between the atoms and molecules. That is called interatomic forces or intermolecular forces. Because of these attractive forces, they have some configuration. At the same time, each atom and molecule have motion. They have some motion also. They may have random motion. These atoms or molecules have random motion. Then because of the configuration and random motion of atom or molecules of a substance is called as internal energy. Internal energy means it is nothing but sum of total energy possessed by the body or the energy associated with the body due to the configuration and random motion of atoms or molecules. Okay, next. See, after this internal energy, see, whenever we take two substances, so this is having, say, first body A, so this is a second body B. They may have different internal energies. And suppose even they have different temperatures also. Because of this difference in the temperature, the internal energy flows from one body to another body. This transfer of internal energy from one body to another body due to difference in the temperature is nothing but heat. So therefore heat is nothing but the internal energy transferred from one body to another body due to difference in the temperature. It is heat. So today we have to measure the heat. So the measurement of heat energy is called as calorimetry. Earlier also I said Metry means steady. Measurement. Metry means measurement. So calorie means, actually it is a unit of heat. So therefore measurement of heat is called as calorimetry. So instead of this, if I say calorimeter, you know, here meter means device used to measure. Heat, calorie means heat. Therefore a device used to measure heat energy is called calorimeter. Right. So next point. So try to remember internal energy, heat, calorimetry and calorimeter. After this, see, whenever we provide heat energy to the body, when we supply heat energy to the body, what happens? See, whenever we provide heat energy to the body, so two things can take place when we supply heat energy to a body. Say it is a body. Whenever we provide heat energy to the body, if you supply heat energy to the body, two things can take place. One, there may be rise in the temperature. Temperature changes. When we supply heat energy to the body, there is increase in the temperature or change of state. When we provide heat energy to the body, there may be increase in the temperature or there may be change of state. Similarly, when body loses heat energy, whenever body loses heat energy, there may be decrease in the temperature or there may be change of state. So today, first we'll discuss about the temperature increase when we provide heat energy to our body. Consider a body. This is a body of mass m. See, when we supply Q amount of heat energy to the body, then this heat energy given to the body is equal to, Q is equal to m S into delta T, where just now I said Q means heat energy given to the body, heat energy. You know, just now I said whenever we provide heat energy or when body absorbs heat energy, temperature increases. When body loses heat energy, temperature decreases. Therefore, Q means heat energy absorbed by the body or heat energy lost by the body. Right? So next is the M. M is nothing but mass of the body. So S means specific heat. What is specific heat? I will take in detail now. Later, delta T is the change in the temperature. Change in temperature of the body. Right? So please note down. Remember, Q is equal to heat energy absorbed by the body or heat energy lost by the body. M means mass of the body. S, specific heat. Delta T is change in temperature. Okay. Now we'll discuss in detail about specific heat. Specific heat. Specific heat. So, as you know, the word specific indicates a particular. When we take a body, consider we have a body. See, this is the body. Whose mass is equal to 1 kg. Mass 1 kg. So then, whenever we supply heat energy, say Q, then as you know, there is a change in the temperature. So then, how much heat energy we have to supply? To change its temperature by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin, both are same. Then this amount of heat energy required to change, or amount of heat energy supplied by the body of mass 1 kg through 1 Kelvin is called as specific heat. Therefore, specific heat means amount of heat energy required to change the temperature of a body of mass 1 kg through 1 degree Celsius is called specific heat. So, or otherwise, just now I said Q is equal to M S into delta T, or specific heat is equal to Q, if you send M and delta T this side, Q divided by M into delta T. So from here also you can conclude energy per unit mass per unit change in temperature. Okay, so now SI unit and other things. I think you know SI unit of energy, heat energy. One more thing, somewhere you can write down unit of heat energies. Unit of heat energy. Units of heat energy. Okay, so you must remember, first I start with SI unit. So remember, SI unit of heat energy is joule. Joule is the SI unit of heat energy. And CGS unit is calorie. CGS unit is calorie. And FPS unit this is British thermal unit. British thermal unit is the FPS unit of heat energy. Okay, so please mention this. British thermal unit. Okay, then what is the relation between them? Relation between the two units. So 1 calorie is equal to 1 calorie is equal to 4.186 joule. Okay, and similarly that is equal to 3.96 into 10 to the power minus 3 British thermal unit. So if you bring this side, then 1 British thermal unit can be written as 1 British thermal unit can be written as 1 divided by 3.96 into 10 to the power minus 3 calorie. So if you take 1 by 3.96, please take calculator and calculate. Next, 1 British thermal unit is equal to 252 point something calorie. So please mention the units of heat. Written. Now come back to specific heat. Specific heat. See here, SI unit. SI unit. Q means joule. Mass means kg. This is Kelvin. So joules per kg per Kelvin. Joule per kg per Kelvin. I think it's not necessary to write CGS unit. Q means calorie per gram per Kelvin. It may be Kelvin or degree Celsius. There is no difference at all, because difference in the temperature in degree Celsius and in Kelvin are same. Right. See some facts regarding to specific heat. What are the factors on which specific heat depends? Specific heat. Specific heat depends on specific heat of a substance depends on first temperature of a substance. This is I am writing first because I want to highlight this. Usually specific heat remains constant over a small range, but if I come to extreme low or extreme high, that may change. But usually specific heat depends on nature of material of the body. Nature of material depends on nature of material. And next, state of the material. State of the material. State means whether it is in liquid state or in solid state or in gaseous state. That will change the specific heat. Nature means whether it may be iron, copper or any other material. It will change. See next, how it depends on temperature. You know, I said this is only extreme cases, only for extreme cases. Example, at extreme low temperature, see at extremely low temperature. At extremely low temperature, specific heat is directly proportional to Q of the temperature. This is called D base cube law. T cube law. D base T cube law. Okay. But for our level, that is for NEET, JEE and KCET, this is not necessary. If somebody asks you what are the factors on which specific heat depends, means try to remember it depends on nature of material and state of the material. Okay, this D base T cube law is not necessary. Okay, fine. After this, now specific heat at different processes. See, whenever something process takes place at constant temperature. Example, just now I said phase change of phase. Whenever we supply heat energy to the body, then solid may become liquid or solid may become vapor gas state. Means whenever there is a change in the state at constant temperature. So at constant temperature, that is called isothermal changes. In bracket, isothermal changes. For isothermal changes, isothermal means temperature remains constant. When temperature is constant, that is isothermal means T is constant. So when T is constant, then delta T, change in the temperature, becomes 0. Change in temperature is 0. So whenever change in temperature is 0, look at this here. 0 into anything is 0. Then anything by 0 is infinity. Therefore, I can say specific heat for isothermal changes is infinity. Now next, see, for whenever we know that sometimes when we go on press the gas, pressure goes on, increases. At the same time, temperature also changes. Means whenever there is change in the temperature without supplying heat energy, whenever temperature changes, without supplying heat energy, without supply of heat, means whenever there is no heat energy absorbed or released, then that process is called adiabatic. Therefore, for adiabatic changes, that is for adiabatic changes, For adiabatic changes, you know, there is no heat energy is absorbed or released. Therefore, delta Q is equal to 0. So, whenever delta Q is 0, you know, this is 0. 0 by anything is 0. Hence, specific heat for adiabatic process is 0. Okay, so note down this. Next is molar specific heat. What is molar specific heat? So before going to that, see, as just now I said, heat energy is equal to M into S into delta T. Okay, so as you know, 1 mole of a substance is called molar mass. Mass of 1 mole. Mass of 1 mole of a substance is called molar mass. That is written as capital M. Then total mass of a substance. Total mass of a substance. Total mass of a substance is, if I take small m, total mass of a substance, already it is written as small m. Then we know that from this I can say total mass. This total mass is equal to number of moles of the substance into molar mass. Right? So then if I substitute this in above equation, then this Q can be written as, instead of small m I can write M into capital M into S into delta T. Then this molar mass into specific heat, this Q is equal to N, this is called as C into delta T. So here C can be written as, here look at the C, where C is equal to, instead of C what is here, molar mass into specific heat. Right, this C is called as molar specific heat. This C is equal to molar specific heat. So please write down this. After this molar specific heat, then some values which are necessary for our study. Constant, that is a specific heat of water at a different states. Okay, specific heat. So So at normal temperature and pressure, that is at 1 atmosphere. At 1 atmosphere, that is at normal pressure. See, today most commonly used is ice, next water, next is steam. These three we have to study. Specific heat. Okay, see, specific heat of ice is 0.5 calorie per gram per degree Celsius or per Kelvin, whereas water is 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius. Actually, the steam is 0.47 calorie per gram per degree Celsius. So it is in calorie and gram, but sometimes we need in joule also. Therefore, this is nothing but 2100. Actually, here 1 calorie I am taking it as, actual value is 4.186. This I am joule. This I am nearly taken it as 4.2 joule. By assuming 4.2 joule, it is 2100 joules per kg per Kelvin or per degree Celsius. Both are same. Here 4200 joules per kg per Kelvin. Here it is 1970 joules per kg per Kelvin. So one point remember, most of the times this steam, whatever I have taken 0.47, sometimes it is taken as 0.5 only. Means specific heat of ice and specific heat of steam are almost taken as same only. Okay, so note down. See, just now I said whenever heat energy is supplied to the body, then temperature changes. Then we have studied. Now, as you know, sometimes, okay, before going to the latent heat, one more we have to study thermal capacity. Thermal capacity. Next, we have to study about thermal capacity. What is this thermal capacity? See, whenever we take a body, that body may be small, that body may be large. If you supply heat energy to the body here as well as here to change the temperature, today I want to change its temperature by 1 degree Celsius. Here also I want to change the temperature by 1 degree Celsius. You know, to change the temperature of this body through 1 degree Celsius, we need more heat energy. While to change the temperature of this body through 1 degree Celsius, we need less energy. Then amount of heat energy required for a given body through 1 degree Celsius, change the temperature by 1 degree Celsius, is called as its thermal capacity. So therefore I repeat, thermal capacity is nothing but amount of heat energy required, that is amount of heat or amount of heat energy required. So directly I am writing heat required to raise the temperature of a substance, through temperature of a substance through 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin is called thermal capacity. And here I can say, it means here as mass is more, heat energy required is also more. Therefore here I can say heat energy per degree Celsius, hence thermal capacity is equal to Q divided by delta T. From formula, since we know that Q is equal to M S into delta T. If you bring this delta T this side, it becomes Q by delta T. Then directly I can write thermal capacity is equal to Q by delta T. This Q by delta T is nothing but M into S. Right? In theory we have studied what are the factors on which thermal capacity depends and how it is different from specific and etc. I think here it is not necessary. Okay, please note down this. After this thermal capacity, next is the latent heat. Latent heat. Latent heat represented by capital L. So as I told, whenever we provide heat energy to the body, there may be increase in the temperature or there may be change of state. Okay, so what is the latent heat? See, whenever we supply heat energy to a body, say it is in solid state. When we supply heat energy, then this solid becomes liquid. Solid becomes liquid without change in the temperature. That is called change of state. Then amount of heat energy required to change the state of a substance of unit mass without a change in the temperature is called latent heat. So therefore latent heat is nothing but amount of heat energy. Simply I will write heat energy required to change the state of a substance. Change of a substance of unit mass without change in temperature, without change in temperature, is called latent heat. And how do we measure this latent heat? You know, amount of heat energy supplied is equal to mass into latent heat, because according to the definition, latent heat is nothing but amount of heat energy required, to change the substance of unit mass. Therefore, heat energy per unit mass, that is Q by M. That is our expression. I think it's not necessary to say what is its SI unit. Joule per kg. This is the latent heat expression. Now let us see some change of states. Change of state. Please mention this expression. So I think you know the change of states. Change of states. Here solid, whenever heat energy is supplied, then solid is converted into liquid. Solid is converted into liquid, or liquid is converted into solid. Liquid is converted into solid. Okay, next, liquid is converted into vapor, or vapor can be converted into liquid. Next, solid can be converted into gaseous state, or vapors, that is a gaseous state, can be converted into solid. Right? See, already you know the process. Already you know these processes. See, this is the process of conversion of solid to liquid is called as melting. Is called as melting. Melting. Whereas this process of conversion of liquid into solid is called as freezing. Freezing. And the process of conversion of liquid into vapors is called as, there is a word called boiling or vaporization. Boiling or vaporization. There is a slight difference between boiling and vaporization. Okay. Next is vapors is converted into liquid. Then this process is called as condensation. Condensation. Okay. Similarly, a solid, this is important. So the process of conversion of solid into gaseous state. So example, whenever camphor is heated, directly it converted into gaseous state, is called sublimation. Is called sublimation, right? And you know very well, I think this is not a common here, the reverse process, the process in which vapor is directly converted into solid. Example, see, when the vapors of water is condensed, directly forms a cloud. Clouds are formed. This formation of clouds from vapors is this process. This is called hoar-frost. Okay, please note down this. Okay, see here next. The temperature at which solid is converted into liquid is called melting point. The temperature at which solid is converted into liquid is called melting point. Similarly, the liquid into solid. And the temperature at which liquid is converted into vapor is called boiling point. It's called boiling point. So, next. See here, sometimes what happens, whenever we press the solid, example ice, when we press the ice, at the point of exerting the force, at that place the ice is converted into water. Means there is a change of state without supplying heat energy. Example, see, already I told, say, so this is the ice. When I put force in this area, so then in this area, so the ice gets melt into water. Means here, to convert the state of matter, we are not supplying heat energy. Just we are exerting the force, or we are exerting the pressure. Because of change in the pressure, state of matter changes. Whenever we release this pressure, when we remove our applied pressure, then liquid is once again converted into solid. This process is called resolution. Okay, right. So now let us take two values here. Try to remember the values. So as I told, the amount of heat energy required to change the state of unit mass without change in the temperature is called latent heat. Here only I will try to mention. So here this process, in this case, latent heat of ice, this is called latent heat of ice, is 80 calorie per gram. 80 calorie per gram. Means to convert 1 kg of ice into water without change in the temperature, we need 80 calorie. To change 1 gram, not 1 kg, 1 gram of ice into water, we need 80 calorie. To convert 1 kg of water, ice, into water, we need 80 kilocalorie per kg. Okay, that is easy. Next, here, latent heat of steam, we can say. Latent heat of steam. That is equal to 540 calorie per gram. per gram. Now see, to convert into joule, you have to multiply by 4.2. You will get calorie into joule. This conversion you have to do yourself. Okay, so please mention these values. Okay, next we have to go for problems on this heading. That problems will take in next video.